Hello, everybody, and Amy Zoellers.
Hello. That was a really cool intro. I liked
Oh,
it.
yeah, I just did a new intro.
Spooky graveyard.
So I'm going to back up a little bit.
Yes.
Amy, this show exists because of this woman here named Amy Zoellers. We've lived, well, I was going to say we lived together, but no, we did not live together, but we lived in the same town
We did.
a few years ago, and we worked together at the library. And when COVID hit, that's era that shall not be named.
Yeah.
I had just started an open mic.
Mm-hmm.
Open mic closed, and Amy suggested, well, I've heard of this, Instagram live thing. Let's try that and do like a poetry thing.
Yeah.
And so we did that once a month for a while. Then I got StreamYard and I started doing something on YouTube, I guess. And that was Cake and Hyperbole.
Yeah.
And then all of that, so it springboards from that original Instagram live thing, is where we are now. Because then I kept with it and I really liked it. Who ever thought I'd be like, oh yeah, I love doing shows? I mean, that's
yeah, it was so funny. You were like several months in, you told me, you suggested that, and I was like, okay, but I was really terrified, and I was like, wow, it didn't show at all. And see, I will confess, I don't know that I've ever confessed this when you've brought it up, but I will confess that I loved the open mics, and at the same time, it was very, very hard for me to wait my turn and wait for it to be my turn. And I loved our show because my turn came frequently, and it was really
that's
opportunity
awesome
to really kind of like. Well, I think it was very much a challenge. Sorry, I'm outside and like things are flying around. And it was really a challenge to rise to every month, to say, hey, I want to write something really cool so that I can share it at this. And it's always been a joy, Angela, your enthusiasm and just the magic that seems to happen between us, where we're like, oh, we just invented a form, stuff like that. So it's been great.
Oh,
loved it.
That's awesome. I agree. Well, and I'm happy that we're here. I'm constantly challenged by you. There's really good at kind of thinking of things like, what we should do? But there's hardly ever anybody that goes, yeah, let's do it. Usually people go, yeah, you have fun with that. So thank you for being my, yeah, do it. And you do the same thing. You come up with these crazy things. And I'm like, that's brilliant. Let's do that.
And then we do it. It's
you do it, to be fair. And then usually I forget.
Tragic Eyebrows, number 5. The challenge was our friend in Russia, our poet friend in Russia, was like, had just wrote this beautiful poem in English about poets of the past and used the phrase Tragic Eyebrows jumped out to both of us. And I was like, okay, here's our challenge. Let's write a Tragic Eyebrows poem. Anything about Tragic Eyebrows, or just use the phrase. And I've written like 6. Did you have one?
On my to-do list.
On your list since 2020 or something like that. I think it was 2021 when National Poetry Month, when they sent that poem.
This is my new list, so it's several pages long. I am working through it. The highlighted means it's done.
It's great.
I have to do this today.
Well, you've got a good system, and I love that you have so many things on your list. You'll never run dry.
Oh, I'm
keep adding to
it. Now, I have actually been on purpose running dry, just because I kind of want to get back to the things that I love out of everything, which is writing poetry, doing shows like this, super fun. Never thought I'd say that. And a few things like that, like the magazine, like kind of dipping into what I love doing and stop being quite so frenetically busy.
Right.
So.
Exactly. Living life and making time for the stuff that you love the best. That's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome. So we're here over at the HWA, the Horror Writers Association channel now. I just wanted to give a little backstory for anybody who has not met Amy Zoellers yet. That is every show. We had Alma Katsu 2 weeks ago and Kyle Toucher last week. So we've got like these amazing guests. All of it is credit to this woman.
I always like to roll it back to Angela, who started the open mic at the North Independence Library, which really, really got me kind of hooked on that whole idea. And then just by chance with COVID, with the girls on Instagram reading the ghost stories, I thought, well, yeah, let's do something like that. Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
glad you
I
did.
shared credit. Yeah.
Mutual credit. We
That's
work
right.
well together.
We
Introverts
do.
and extroverts together make powerful teams. I have
Yeah.
to forget, I dyed my hair a little bit blue last night, so my nails are blue. So I keep going, oh,
So you've got that
keep
wonderful
my hands
corpse glow.
down.
Yeah.
It was much, much worse last night. So, and yes, I did actually think about putting it on my face because, like, oh, that's kind of a strange tint. But then I was like, oh, reality. Yeah.
Well, but that is the wonderful art/poetry life where you almost are free to do that.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, if I want to like chop off all my hair, make my skin a weird color, that you don't really
Yeah.
usually see in nature, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
it. Well, I feel really
So,
frazzled. I'm out in the humidity. It's winter where you are. It is just blazing summer here, and I could not get my computer to stay connected in any room of the house. So we're outside.
and the computer says, go outside in the mosquitoes and the heat.
That's right. And it's been like a 9-day bathroom renovation, which really isn't bad. 9 or 10 days. That's not bad, but it's a tiny bathroom, but it's our only bathroom. So I've been like, hopping to other
It's pretty,
bathrooms around
it,
town.
it depends on the sense of urgency, how bad it is.
Right, exactly. I drive like 15 minutes to my sister's and I'm like, do I even still have to go? I don't know.
Let's
So we
have a
talk about it
coffee
all
while
here.
I'm here. And then
That's right. We don't shy away from the real life facts here.
that's
That's part of
hilarious.
poetry. All right, well, what are we up to today?
We are talking about Monsterverse, which is my ridiculous way of just talking about inverted poetry. This is something that I had taken one of Linda D. Addison's classes. Everybody knows Linda D. Addison. And I can't remember which StokerCon it was, but we were on the Queen Mary in
Oh,
LA. So somebody can pinpoint it from there.
yeah.
But yeah, it was in Linda's class. I think that was the first class I'd ever taken with her. And she exploded my brain with the potential of poetry. I kind of walked in there going, yeah, poetry is cool. I really like poetry. Poetry is
Yep.
cathartic. Poetry is this. And then I walked out of there going, you can do anything you want with poetry. You can break every rule. You can explode the world with poetry. I love it.
You can basically really, you can just like you almost can just reach other planes of existence with poetry, it feels like sometimes. So yeah, I'm on board with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So all credit to her for this, but inverted poetry.
Awesome.
Basically, you take a poem, and this is, I think, especially when you feel like a newer poet, or even you're just stuck or whatever, you need a poem and you kind of don't, the inspiration does not hit.
Yep.
You can take any poem and do this, and a completely different meaning can come out of this.
Yes.
If you use somebody's poem that's already been published, that's like current, not free domain.
Right.
I don't know what the rules are on that. I mean, I know you can do that.
Right.
I feel like it's polite to tell them or to connect it in some way that my poem was based on your poem or inspired by or derivative of. I don't think you have to everything, but I mean, kind of like, why not? Because the more we all connect and work together. So I would tell somebody, I do have 2 poems that I did. One is a free domain one called Thoughts by Myra Viola. Oh, that's her. The title is Thoughts. The author is Myra Viola Wild. So I was actually that's a weird name for a title. Thoughts by Myra. Anyways.
Thoughts by Myra. Hey, it's cool. That also is a cool title, but a great name for a
poet.
So
Thoughts. And it's a very I was going to be snide. I was going to say the word simpering, but I also, it's a very happy poem.
Angela's a horror writer, 2-time Stoker Award winner. And so sometimes happy poetry is just like not really what she's going after. So
so it was a little too sunny for me. So I really got an extreme amount of joy inverting it.
Yeah.
all the words go through my head. I'm like, I'm going to use the correct
perverse joy
and polite word of inversion. I just inverted it.
I like it. I like that. All right, I'm excited for this.
And then, just to be fair, for the light and happiness and everything, I took Edgar Allan Poe's and I inverted that and got a happy, light poem out of it. So,
all right.
All fair, darkness and light. Yeah. So, and I think you have an inverted poem as well, right?
I do. I last year published Transfusion Poetica, in which you come up frequently because that is supposedly, I mean, it's a little tongue in cheek when I say this, but it's what I call just the perfect poetry textbook if you don't mind a little swearing and a little whiskey or whatever it mentioned. So I love to imagine these high school English teachers using Transfusion Poetica and, cigarettes coming up and whatever. But one of the chapters is on tactics. There's one on forms because you and I mean, we're kind of known in our own circles for occasionally just inventing a form, and so those are mentioned. And
you can do that.
This is from tactics. There's just Friday the 13th is the name of the first poem, and then there's the Friday the 13th flip. So that's like the inversion where I just changed it's basically, I heard about it from you because of Linda, and I was just like, I'm going to definitely try this just as a fun exercise. And then and this did not happen with this poem, but I will say once I was in the waiting room when my husband was in the chiropractor last year or the year before, probably 2 years ago. And I thought the very first time I tried to do an inversion poem, or the opposite, where you just take the opposites of words, the third word in the poem was poetry or poet. And I was sitting there like, this is my first time and I'm just going to blaze through this inversion. Oh my God, what is the opposite of poetry? And so that's been a question that cooks in my mind for years. And I really feel like I came to the answer in a dream and then forgot it after all of the things I've worked through. But anyway, so the one I'll read today is Friday the 13th, and then Friday the 13th, the flip. So really two.
Oh, I love it. So, yeah. I love it. And also, what a noble question. What is the opposite of poetry?
That is the funnest question I have ever just sort of like stumbled on in a chiropractor's waiting room. So it was really, really, it's been a fun, I need to get back to that. There have been a lot of life distractions lately. And so really, I want to zoom in on that again and see what happens.
Yeah. And this, that might be, because we were doing this show where we always had a guest.
Yeah.
And so we've recently decided that we can still have guests. I mean, we can, but we don't have to, because you and I fill the hours with plenty of dialogue of our own.
That's right.
Not saying how good or not good that dialogue is. I just we're very ample at filling the hour with dialogue.
We're not shy. It's not hard for us to, come up with a little something to say, So
yeah. You tease my introvert to being more extroverted.
Right. And I'm not exactly an extrovert. I certainly don't derive energy from being around a lot of people, but I definitely can bring some energy when I need to. So yeah, absolutely. I think we have
it's just
energy.
The natural joyous energy.
There's joy. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I'm not going to gush about you too much. Okay. But I just had a conversation today with somebody who was asking me about Amy and what I thought of her. Mm-hmm. And basically, I just talked about this is the reason why I love Amy Zoellers. She is so full of joy. She is just an exuberant, but not in that overpowering way of like, you have to be joyous. I am also joyous.
Oh, yeah, no.
And that's what I've always loved about you. It's like, I'm over here doing my own thing. I'm sparkling and I'm full of joy and I'm so happy. And I'm over here like, there's a lot of color in that corner. It's very bright and sparkly. And
I don't know.
I kind of like it. She seems so happy. Let me see if I can get close to her and not have it rub off on me. I can. Let's be friends.
Well, I will, and I would like to say that, having a bathroom renovation with our only one bathroom, and I stayed with a friend for like 9 days. You know what? If you talk to that friend, you might realize that sometimes I'm capable, and if you read my poetry, I am capable of deep lows, and stuff like that.
But I always respect and love that.
I appreciate that. And I know that you're, I think that's kind of part of the human condition. I know that you have that in your life as well sometimes, but it's like, I'm so glad that the joy surfaces, and often leads the way. And that's been a blessing for me. So glad of it.
All right. Well, now that everybody thinks we're dating or something, we're not officially dating, just as friends. Well, let's get to some poetry. You're talking about Monsterverse. So the whole point of this is we want you to do this. This is like not instructional, but please do your own Monsterverse.
Yeah.
If you look in the links to this description, I actually haven't mentioned this to you yet. So surprise, I'm going to say this. I'm doing we started talking about it and then I think we got distracted.
Yeah.
I love recording other poems, like other people reading their poems. It's really hard to be able to read our poems, especially now with a lot of things being closed off, and there's a lot of like reasons to not go in public venues lately.
Right.
So I have a link in the description. If you click that link, you can schedule a time to meet with me. I'm not going to be in your video with you. It's not going to be like this, but you can read your poem and I will put it in my channel, which is called, I have to think about it for a second, Random Acts of Poetry.
Yeah.
And just do all the poems because I'm like, there's no organization here. It's random. I'm going to put all the poems in there. So yeah, anybody can do that. So write your monster poem and then share it there.
Yes.
And then it can be in the same thing. But that's actually on my channel. I'm forgetting which channel I'm on, not the HWA channel that I'm doing that, because I can do more things on my channel. Freedom to like
it's such
do
a
all
cool
those things.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna be, oh no.
Oh, we lost Amy for just a second. So, but yes, I do invite you, go to that link, schedule it. I'm only doing one a day because I also want to write my own poetry, but you can schedule that link and then read your poetry. But while Amy is in the dark spinning around, I will go ahead and read my inversion. I'm going to read the original one so you can see how simpering and sunny and beautiful and bright it is. And then I'm going to read the inversion that I did. And again, inversion is just taking the poem, turning it inside out. There's no rule as to what you can turn inside out or not. You can keep structure. Like I also did an Edgar Allan Poe version of The Raven. I kept a lot of that structure that makes us recognize Edgar Allan Poe. And Amy will probably be back in a minute. And then I changed to make it a different flavor. And it absolutely changed. Her battery died. I am saying no worries. Okay, so then I'm changing that structure how I want it so that it's still recognizable that this was once the Raven, but now it's a new structure. So I'll actually start with that one since I just talked about it so much. So the original Raven, only doing the first paragraph or the first stanza. I'm not going to do the whole thing right now. And I just did this afternoon for the Raven. So, I'm sure if I really think about it a little bit and really carve on it, I can do a much better job. And here is Amy now. Yay! I was just getting ready to read the Raven. I entertained everybody.
Go ahead.
No worries. All right. So the Raven, the original way, and then I'll read the inverted way. The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, of course.
Go ahead.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." And so, and then the inverted version turned out to be a completely different story.
Yes.
I think we're done.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and that's okay. I'm going to mute for just a second. And this, for everybody who doesn't know, this is usually how the shows go. This is a very relaxed show. This is not like the rest of the rest of the shows. So let me find what I just did with that poem because I lost it. Okay. So the inversion. Once upon a noonday cheery, while I pondered full of query, under the spell of a TBR pile I could not ignore. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my front door. "'Tis some salesman," I muttered, tapping at my front door. "Only this, another, and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember it was in the bright December, and each separate burning ember wrought its glow upon the floor. Eagerly I wished for a day behind. Vainly I sought to find from my book's excess of joy for the lost borrow, for the rare and radiant book whom the librarians let me borrow, once thought to be found here for nevermore. And the rustic, happy, certain rustling of each gingham curtain filled me with a fantastic frisson never felt before. so that now, to still the beating of my heart, I sit repeating, 'tis some salesman entreating entrance at my front door, some early salesman entreating entrance at my front door. This it is, and nothing more. So you can see how I basically kept a lot of, oh, let me unmute Amy now. Sorry, Amy. Unmute.
Well, they're talking.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So you can see how I kind of took the same poem, inverted it, and then it became a new poem, which now talks about a lost book at the library, where once it talked about a lost love. So I kept the concept of loss, because I randomly picked whatever I wanted, and then, new poem. So that was inversion. I've just been talking out of my butt over here.
I apologize for vanishing. We have a bathroom renovation that we've waited years and years to do. We finally did it. It's a 1978 bathroom that is now wonderful. It was really gnarly. And then it was just, they finished during poetry. I'm sorry. And then my husband got home. So I was like, I got to take care of it. He's not here. Then he came home and then he's talking loudly. And anyway.
Oh, that's absolutely
happy home. But anyway, I have a new tub.
Yeah, I did say that is the way our shows go. They're very. What is that word?
There's a lot of life,
but it's a good word. Yeah.
Unpolished. They're unpolished, and that's the way we like it. So
raw, unplugged. These are the words. Literally unplugged raw. In your case, which is why the battery died.
Real. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that's mine. Do you want to read your inversion?
Oh, good. Yes. Okay, if my connection holds. Okay, good. It's on my phone, which I just found from Transfusion Poetica. As soon as I do not lose connection, I'm talking to you, computer. Okay, let me see here, because that has been enough of that. Okay, Friday the 13th is the original poem. I did write it, but then that's the one I flipped from. So Friday the 13th goes, life is aching me, Marnie, coffee overload, cake overlord, a pictorial history of sea monsters, rain inside and out, one mouse expires. In another life, perhaps the lad in jackboots would offer me a cigarette. Friday the 13th, 2, the flip. Death soothes me, Sean Connery, or whatever your dear character's name was. Mushroom elixir deficit, broccoli peasant. What is the opposite of a pictorial history of sea monsters? Calculus textbook, essays on sky babies, sunbeams outside and in, a fleet of colossal squid revives. On this precise celestial plane, certainly the lad in jackboots would deny me a glass of wheatgrass juice. The end.
I love it. I am so in love with doing this.
I do. I love it. I enjoy it so much. Like when I wrote the Friday the 13th poem, I probably wrote it a year or two before I ever even knew about flipping them. And so it was such a fun thing to revisit. It's fun to revisit your old work. It's fun to visit public domain work. I'm really looking forward to doing that. That was something I wish I'd had time to do before we started today, but Scout Camp ended and the bathroom renovation. Okay. So I will look forward to that.
You can put this on your list and we will revisit that. And I want to hear your free domain versions next time. And we might even have some links to share because other people might do it. And they can be recorded here. And then, we'll have some links to share.
I love that. There's my son. Son, you're on the show. Yeah. He hates to be filmed. You did it, oh my beautiful boy. Just got back from Scout Camp.
That was a good stretch too. He's like,
it was. I know that felt good just to watch. That helped us all. So anyway, I am in the kitchen because none of the other rooms were working or were too near the noise. So that was wonderful. There's a blessing.
It is. You know what? It's chaotic poetry soup, and out of this comes life and art. And this is, we're not in studios, where everything is pristine. This is where it all comes from, So, but I
have a collection. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have the best quote from you, if I can find it in my docs, because I have a collection going now that I'm working on called Vandal. about
I love
life
it.
and disentanglement, right? And
Mhm.
you've got this quote you said in a text, and I told you I'm going to put this at the beginning of one of my going collections. Life is one continuous hallucinism, chaos reigns. Angela Yuriko Smith. And so that's going in the beginning of my Vandal collection whenever it's done. It's pretty long already. I mean, it's long enough already, but
That's
sometimes you're just doing it on
hilarious.
stuff going on in life, and you just keep
Yeah,
stringing the pearls,
that's
So it's
hilarious.
fun.
I
Yeah. So I was
actually
glad to have
remember
that.
sending that. I believe as I texted it, I sent and then I said out loud, "Because chaos reigns." Because that sounds like me.
Yes, that's right. Set the intention, by gosh, for chaos to reign. But yes, that'll add a
My
little class
theory,
to the
yeah,
volume. Yeah.
my theory is we're going to get chaos whether we ask for it or not. Like we make plans, and plans seem to be made to be broken. So let's just embrace the chaos and expect it, and then things will probably be pretty boring, you know.
Yeah.
Or
Find the
you just
beauty in the
appreciate the
chaos.
chaos. Yeah.
Yeah. There can be beauty in it. There can be terror and horror in it and stuff that we didn't ask for, but sometimes you can find the beauty in it. And it's also kind of, well, Herman Melville, the universal thump, let's just rub one another's shoulders. He says at the beginning of Moby Dick, the universal thump is coming for us all,
Yep,
But
exactly.
yeah, true. So good stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, always fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the public domain version, the super simpering.
Yes.
Oh, I keep saying that. I am so sorry for anybody who's a
The
Myra Viola
Holly
Wilds
Jolly.
fan.
The Holly Jolly
The
poem.
happy. Yeah, the happy
Yeah.
poem.
The
I'll
shiny
go ahead
happy
and do
poem.
that one, and then we can probably close unless you have anything else, and then you can get back to you can go use your bathroom.
Woo! That is exciting. I think I have a scented candle and everything. So
Oh man, I want pictures. I want pictures not of you in the bath with the scented candle necessarily, but of the bath. Bathroom.
Apparently there was this thing on apparently on the internet for a while where these hot girls just kept taking pictures of their feet in the bath. I'll definitely send you one of those.
I definitely want that.
That's right. Oh my gosh, if you had seen how gnarly it was, I should have done it before and after. You would have loved it. It was like a horror movie.
Oh wow.
So anyway,
that's my bathroom now, the glamping, which we're getting ready to have a new bathroom, but a new whole house. So
right, exciting.
Yeah, not to get off track, I will read this really quickly and then we'll wrap it up because you have a bath to take.
It's waiting. My bath is waiting. Thank you, Angela. Okay, I'm looking forward to your simpering flip.
All right. So this is the first one. This is a public domain poem. And how I found it is I Googled happy poem public domain. And this is what I came up with. Nice. So Thoughts by Myra Viola Wilds. What kind of thoughts now do you carry in your travels day by day? Are they bright and lofty visions or neglected, gone astray? Matters not how great and fancy or what deeds of skill you've wrought. Man, though high may be his station, is no better than his thoughts. Catch your thoughts and hold them tightly. Let each one an honor be. Purge them, scourge them, burnish brightly, and then in love set each one free. And I'm not going to say that's a bad sentiment. That's a nice sentiment.
No.
It's just a little sweet for me,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so, inverted, it became Nightmares by Angela Rico Smith.
Yes.
And it still rhymes because I kept the structure of the poem because I'm just inverting, not changing.
There is something about rhyming poetry, I'm not going to lie, that is a turn on to me. So I like it both ways, but I'm looking forward to this. So yeah.
I just had somebody apologize for I can't seem to get the rhyme out of my poems. There is nothing. I'm going to officially say this opinion. It's always opinion. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with rhyming poetry. I think where it's gotten that bad rep is when it's carelessly rhymed. I am up against the wall and then I thought I'll have a ball and look, I just might fall. And that's where you're kind of like, okay, just think about it a little bit and make it creative. And then
right. Like the syllables don't match up or you're forcing it, and stuff. And no, it's like as someone who's also a songwriter, some form of rhyme or near rhyme is very pleasing to the ear in song, at least in the Western world. And so, and in poetry, it like puts a key in a lock for me that feels great. So,
well, and it's how you remember it. I mean, rhyme is there. I mean, incantations are rhyme. So I am definitely not going to be one of the people that's like raging against the rhyme, just like anything, do it cleverly. Like anything, rhyming or not. I've read plenty of non-rhyming poems that I'm like, that needed some more thought. Some of them are mine. Many of them are mine.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to your rhyming nightmare.
All right,
let's have the rhyming
nightmare. So, nightmares. What cruelty of worries now do we drop in our prisons night by night? Are they dark and buried blind, or treasured present fright? It matters not how minute in truth, or what accidental sins you've wrought. Monster, though low may be his freedoms, is much worse than her thoughts. Free your fancies and let them slip loose. Force them all ashamed to be. Devour them, bless them, let tarnish dull, then in loathing imprison thee. And that is that.
Ah. Sorry, I had to put my ear right by it. There's a vacuum. I had to have my ear on it. I cannot turn my freaking laptop up any higher than that. And there's a vacuum running. I'm like, I got to hear this rhyming nightmare. I'm going to be rewatching this, and I hope I can hear everything when I do. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with my chaos that we just discussed.
Love your chaos. You know what? I cannot think of a better way to introduce you to the HWA channel as the show has moved over than. And so I don't know what else to say to that. I think that was a perfect ending.
If I said anything else, I wouldn't be able to hear myself. So
Amy will be here. It's the first Saturday of every month is our poetry show. And that's always going to be Amy. Sometimes we might have a guest. I think we have a guest coming up to lead us through a RPG, a poetry RPG. I'm super excited.
Yeah.
Right?
I know the wheels have been turning on that. I don't know where it's landing, but that might be something we have to get together and discuss. Yeah. Pretty good at making up happen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, so next first Saturday, you'll find Amy back. I can't promise you that we will have less chaos. It might be a thing, but I can promise you that we will have Amy back.
Right. Live from the bathtub, exactly.
You started it. You said it. Now we're gonna have a bathtub show. Bathtub poetry.
We'll have on a gown of bubbles. Yeah. All right, Angela. Beautiful. That was
I will let you go, Amy, back to your chaos. Go enjoy your bath. Thank you, everybody, for watching us. Go to the link and schedule your poem to read your poem, especially if it's an inverted poem, because then we'll mention it next show.
I want to hear them. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's it. See you later.
Happy Saturday.